This presentation will go over the changes between the APA 6th and 7th editions, along with covering the basics of APA formatting and style. The 7th edition of the Publication Manual of the American Psychological Association contains detailed guidelines for formatting a paper in APA style. Updates to APA are posted on the APA website, www.apastyle.org. APA style is a writing style and format for academic documents, such as scholarly journal articles and books. The guidelines were developed to aid reading comprehension, clarity of communication, and for word choice that best reduces bias in language. First, we will go over paper format, which covers title page setup, font, line spacing, margins, page header, alignment and indentations, and levels of headings. The title page for a student paper will include the following: page number in the top right corner. The title page is page number 1. The title will be in title case, bold, centered, and in the upper half of the page, which will be 3 to 4 lines down from the top margin. Title case is when all major words are capitalized. All text below the title will also be centered on the page and double spaced. Below the title, do a double space and put the author's name with no title or degree, followed by the author's affiliation, course number, and name, instructor of course, and due date. Each bit of information will be on its own line. The general format of an APA formatted paper is typed and double-spaced on standard size paper, 8.5 by 11 inches, with 1-inch margins on all sides, Times New Roman or similar font, and 10 to 12-point size should be used. The page header appears in the top margin of every page of your paper and consists of a page number aligned to the right. Remember, the title page is page number 1. All text will be aligned to the left margin and do not justify the text. Indent the first line of each new paragraph 0.5 inches from the left margin. Use the tab key and not the spacebar to do this. There are some exceptions to these paragraph guidelines. See sections 2.23 and 2.24 of the APA Publication Manual 7th edition for those. They include title page, titles, section headings, reference list, and a few others. Headings identify content within sections of your paper. There are 5 levels of headings in APA style. Level 1 is the highest and main level, followed by levels 2 through 5. We are going to focus on levels 1 through 3, which will usually be ones needed for student papers. Level 1 headings will be centered, bold, and title case. Level 2 headings will be flush left, bold, and title case. Level 3 will be flush left, bold, italic, and title case. All text below a heading will be the start of a new paragraph, so it will need to be indented 0.5 inches from the left margin. Avoid having only one subsection heading within a section. So looking at this example, you see there are 2 level 2 headings under method, site of study, and then participant population. Also 2 level 3 headings under patient population, which are teachers and students. Keep double spacing throughout the paper and don't add blank lines above or below headings, even if a heading falls at the end of a page. Don't use numbers or letters within your heading titles. Now for a quick look at some grammar and writing guidelines. We will look at capitalization, numbers, Oxford comma, punctuation, and writing style. Title case is when major words are capitalized. For the title case, first word and the first word of subtitles or after a colon or dash is capitalized. Major words are nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, pronouns, and all words of 4 letters or more. Title case is used in the body of your text. Sentence case is when most words are lowercase. Only capitalize the first word or title or heading, first word of a subtitle, or first word after a colon, in proper nouns. Sentence case is used in your references list. Since both these examples are book titles, they are also italicized. Use words 1, 9, 4 for numbers 0 through 9, and numbers beginning a sentence, heading, or title. Use the numerals 10, 25, 36, etc. for numbers 10 and above, along with numbers used with units of measurement. For example, 3 inches, times, 1 hour, 34 minutes, ages, 2 years old, and dates, March 6th. Use a comma before the conjunction when there is a list of 3 or more items. For example, a comma will go before the and in this sentence. All study participants were adults, comma, female, comma, and diabetic. Now looking at punctuation, and this is a change from the 6th edition. There is now only one space after a period within the text of your paper. You will still want to have 0 space after periods inside abbreviations. Clarity and conciseness are the major concerns in reporting research in APA. It is not easy to balance clarity, which requires accuracy, and conciseness, which requires packing information. To achieve clarity, avoid vague wording and be specific in descriptions and explanations. To achieve conciseness, condense your information. Also, the language of APA format is plain and simple. Avoid using metaphors and minimize the use of figurative language, which is typical for creative writing. Now we will look at citing your work, which includes your in-text citations and your reference list. APA style uses the author date citation system, where a brief in-text citation directs readers to a full reference list entry. The in-text citation appears within the body of the text and identifies the cited work by its author and date of publication. In-text citations can have 2 formats, parenthetical and narrative. In parenthetical citations, the author's last name and year of publication, separated by a comma, are in parentheses at the end of a sentence. In narrative citations, the author name is incorporated into the text as part of the sentence, and the year follows in parentheses. When there are multiple authors, use the word "and" between the 2 authors' names in the narrative in-text citations. You will use an ampersand between the 2 authors' names in the parenthetical in-text citation. There will be no comma in front of the ampersand. For 3 or more authors, use et al. After the first author's last name. You will use this both in the narrative and parenthetical citations. When citing multiple works in text, place citations in alphabetical order with last name and date for each one separated by a semicolon. When citing authors with the same last names, use the first initials with the last names. When multiple references have an identical author or authors and publication year, include a lowercase letter after the year. These letters are assigned when the references are placed in order in the reference list, alphabetically by title. The year letter combination is used in both the in-text citation and the reference list entry. Sometimes the information needed to create a reference list entry is missing or unknown. When there's no author, provide the title, date, and source. When no date, use lowercase n, period, lowercase d, period, for no date. When there's no title, describe the work in square brackets. When there are no page numbers, such as in electronic materials, you can use a heading or section name, or even the paragraph number. When quoting directly, always provide the author, year, and page number of the quotation. For a single page, use the abbreviation lowercase p followed by a period, space, and then the page number. For multiple pages, use the abbreviation of lowercase p followed by a period, space, and then the page numbers. Separate the page range with a dash. If pages are discontinuous, use a comma between the page numbers. If the work does not have a page number, provide another way for the reader to locate the quotation, such as the paragraph number. Works that cannot be recovered by readers are cited in the text as personal communications. Personal communications include emails, text messages, online chats or direct messages, telephone conversations, live speeches, etc. Use a personal communication citation only when a recoverable source is not available. Because readers cannot retrieve the information in personal communications, they are not included in the reference list. They are cited in the text only. Give the initials and last name of the communicator and provide an exact date as possible. Now we will look at the needed elements for your references and how to format them. Your references page needs to be on a new page after the text of your paper. References will be centered and bolded. It is acceptable to use reference as the label when you cite only one source in your paper. Your references page will also be double-spaced like the rest of your paper. The first line of each citation will be flush left with all other lines indented 0.5 inches from the left margin. All entries will be arranged alphabetically by the last name of the first author. And don't forget to keep the page numbering in the top right of your header. Format references following the APA7th style guidelines. Have all required elements, author, date, title, and source. Double-space the reference list. Order the references alphabetically by first letter of the author's last name. Include the author's first and middle initials if they have them. Do not write out first or middle names. Write author names in inverted format so that the last name comes first, followed by a comma, and then the initials. Place a period and a space after each initial. So Walden, comma, space, R, period, space, L, period, comma, followed by the rest of the citation. The first line is flush left, and all subsequent lines are indented 0.5 inches. In the references for works with one author, you will have the author's last name followed by a comma and their initials. Use one space between each initial. Write the last name exactly as it appears in the work, including hyphens, two-part last names, and author's preferred capitalization. When it is the editor and not the author, use the abbreviation for editor or editors, and this is placed in parentheses with a period at the end. When there are two authors, use an ampersand between the two authors' names. There will be a comma after the last author's initial before the ampersand. For works with 2 to 20 authors, list every author's name and put an ampersand before the last author's name. For a work with 21 or more authors, include the first 19 authors' names, insert an ellipsis, but no ampersand, and then write the final author's name. You will only ever have 20 names listed for one work on your references page. Group authors are often government agencies, nonprofit organizations, and task forces. Spell out the full name of a group author in the reference list entry, followed by a period. Do not use abbreviations in the reference list. These are only allowed for in-text citations. When numerous layers of government agencies are listed as the author of a work, use the most specific agency as the author in the reference list. So for this example, the National Institute of Nursing Research is the author. The names of the parent agencies not present in the group author name will appear in the source element as the publisher. So U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, National Institutes of Health. Most references include only the year as the date. Use more specific dates, such as the month, date, and year, example 2020, June 10th, for works published on a more frequent basis, newspaper or magazine articles, social media posts. For web pages and websites, use the date of last publication or last update. Do not use the copyright date from a web page footer or the date of last review. If the date is unknown or cannot be determined, write ND as the date. Titles of works that are part of a greater whole, journal articles, book chapters, dictionary entries, are written in sentence case without italics. Titles of works that stand alone, books, reports, web pages, are written in italic sentence case. Add a period at the end of the title. For book and report references, place any identifying information such as the edition, report number, volume number, and parentheses after the title. Do not add a period between the title and the parenthetical information, but after the parentheses. The source indicates where readers can retrieve the cited work. For journal entries, you will have the journal title, volume number, issue number, and page range. Italicize the journal title and volume number. Place the issue number in parentheses after the volume number with no space in between. Use a dash to separate a page number. Finish with a period. Books or reports will have the publisher name as the source. You will no longer list the publisher's location. When a website is the source, provide its name followed by a period. Include a DOI or URL at the end of the reference. For all electronic materials, do not include both in the reference entry. The DOI is preferred over the URL. Copy and paste the DOI or URL directly from your web browser. Don't add a period after the DOI or URL. Include a retrieval date only if the work is unarchived and designed to change over time. Most references do not include retrieval dates. Examples of some that do are in Chapter 10 of the Publication Manual. For Healthy People 2030, we'll want to follow the rules for a web page on a website with the government agency group author. Healthy People 2030 will be the author with the parent agencies as the source. For the parenthetical citation, it will be Healthy People 2030, 2020 in parentheses, and the narrative citation will be Healthy People 2030 in text, followed by the date in parentheses. Provide as specific a date as possible for web pages. Some online works note when the work was last updated. If this date is clearly talking about the specific content you are citing rather than the overall website, use this updated date in the reference. If you can't determine the date, use ND. Italicize the title of the web page and end the reference with the URL. The Publication Manual of the American Psychological Association and the APA style website by the American Psychological Association were used to create this presentation. If you need any assistance, please reach out to us. We're happy to help. All the different contact methods are located on our homepage. We have the Ask a Librarian portal, live chat, and of course, you can email us directly. My email is rachel.l.walden@vanderbilt.edu.